It's Wednesday, time now for another Discuss vid. And if you have a topic, idea, a suggestion for a future Discuss episode that have yet to have done, be sure and check the Discuss playlist first. Feel free and send your Discuss topic, idea, or suggestion my way by the comment section, Twitter, Facebook, as well as Discord. The links to all the GeauxBurns Nation social media below in the description section. Alright, so let's talk about Far Cry 5 and microtransactions. I've heard this mentioned by a few people, and obviously I've been live streaming Far Cry 5. Hope to wrap it up either this afternoon or Thursday, so for all my subscribers enjoying my Far Cry 5 live stream, Episode 7 should be coming either later this afternoon, probably not Wednesday afternoon, probably sometime Thursday. Just be on the lookout for that, and I will notify you via Twitter and Facebook whenever I start streaming the 7th and most likely final episode of my Far Cry 5 stream. So some people have mentioned this, the fact that there is obviously microtransactions in Far Cry 5. And unfortunately, this is the reality when it comes to most video games now. Sadly, we're seeing it more and more. I mean, it's been that way for a lot of online games, like for example Grand Theft Auto Online. You have shark cards where you can make money in the game by grinding, doing missions, heists, etc. But you can also purchase the shark cards with real money in order to give you more in-game currency in order to buy the items, vehicles, and properties in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you A, don't have the time to grind enough money, or B, you just don't feel like it and you just rather spend real money, you know, that is an option in Grand Theft Auto Online. And there are other methods of microtransactions, like for example the questionable loot crates that were in Star Wars Battlefront 2 that caused such a huge uproar and backlash that EA had to spend several months, I guess, retweaking their pay-to-play system, and I guess it's better now. I don't know for sure. Even though I'm a Star Wars fan, I never bothered picking up Battlefront 2 because of the fact that it seemed very obviously pay-to-play back then when it launched. Now it's hopefully a little bit better. And then let's talk about this other story that came up most recently regarding Shadow of War. They had a microtransaction issue that a lot of fellow Lord of the Ring fans weren't too happy about, and it looks like, according to Yahoo, that Shadow of War will drop its in-game currency system on May 8th. The backlash against heavy-handed in-game purchasing systems is starting to spread to those games that weren't directly caught up in the firestorm. Monolith is phasing out Middle-earth Shadow of War's gold currency over the next few months. You'll lose the option of buying gold on May 8th, while any existing gold, the market, and war chest will cease to exist on July 17th. If you still have leftover gold on the last date, it'll be converted into in-game items. As Monolith describes it, the virtual currency was souring the experience of the game itself. So, as you can tell, there's a huge backlash when it comes to how certain microtransactions are implemented in video games, like, as I mentioned, Shadow of War, as well as Star Wars Battlefront 2. But at the same time, the reality is, I think that microtransactions are here to stay, but I guess there needs to be some sort of middle ground where the developers and publishers have the potential of making a little extra money off the game that they spent, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars making, while at the same time the consumer doesn't necessarily feel like they have to spend actual money in order to purchase the in-game items. And I think that Far Cry 5, credit to Ubisoft, has found the happy medium. Now, not everybody's happy about the microtransactions in a single-player co-op game like Far Cry 5. However, I personally, like I said, see this as maybe the happy middle, where the majority of those that play Far Cry 5 will never have to purchase any silver bars, and only a small minority that I guess don't have the time to do a few things that would get them enough money in the game to purchase the items they want can go off and go this way, this route, and use real money to buy the silver bars. So let's talk about the two different currencies in Far Cry 5 for those of you that are not familiar with this system. Now we have in-game currency, I would say dollars, in-game dollars. That money you get anywhere from missions, main story, side quests, looting, etc. But the alternative currency is silver bars. And silver bars you can actually get in the game as well. Whenever you liberate outposts, you can find them in safes. There's not as many silver bars in the game, but you can still get a certain amount of silver bars. But it's an alternative currency. It's a form of microtransaction in Far Cry 5. And it's just a way for some players in Far Cry 5 to get items that they don't want to spend time going out and getting money for. Whether they have the money for the silver bars or they just don't have the time to go and do side quests or looting or going after prepper stashes, whatever the reason is, the silver bars are a microtransaction system that's in place, for better or worse, in Far Cry 5. And both forms of currency, the in-game dollars as well as the silver bars, can be used to buy weapons, vehicles, boats, planes, helicopters, clothing. Now what's interesting is a lot of the vehicles, a lot of the weapons, a lot of the clothing, a lot of the items cannot be purchased with the silver bars. You can only purchase them with in-game dollars, in-game cash. So right there, you don't have an issue where everything has a silver bar icon next to it. A lot of the prestige items do. However, it's extremely easy to avoid any form of microtransactions in Far Cry 5. Very simple. It's so easy, even I can do it. And I am not a completionist. I'm not one of these trophy hunters or achievement hunters or 100%ers. And yet I have a sufficient amount of cash in Far Cry 5. Now, this isn't some trick. This isn't some glitch. This isn't some way to beat the system in Far Cry 5. This is the system. And it's basically all you have to do. If you want to make enough money in the game to buy that car, or buy that plane, or buy that boat, or buy that gun, or buy that clothing item, this is all you got to do. First off, loot dead cultists. Don't worry, you're going to kill plenty of cultists in Far Cry 5. After you kill them and the area is secure, loot them, because they'll have ammo and they'll have cash on them. And the cash adds up. Search the prepper stashes. There's tons of prepper stashes throughout the map. And a lot of it's kind of like puzzle. You have to figure it out. And there's obviously hints on the internets like Google, YouTube. Just look it up in order to find out exactly where you can find this prepper stash or that prepper stash. And all the prepper stashes obviously have a ton of cash you can grab, along with perk magazines, which go towards perk points. Liberating outposts is highly recommended, not only for the main story to build up resistance points against the various lieutenants like John, Faith, or Jacob, but it's also good for, once again, cash and silver bars. I currently have 240 silver bars in the game, and no, I didn't spend a dime on microtransactions. Those are the silver bars I've found so far, which means that there's more silver bars to be found in Far Cry 5 that you don't even have to pay for. You just got to go liberating outposts, and you find them in the safes at various outposts, along with fair decent amount of cash. You can also loot bags, containers, crates, cash registers at stores. All that will eventually net you a pretty impressive amount of cash, along with hunting, fishing, as well as finding magazines and maps. You can take all those items, animal skins, fish that you've caught, and you can sell them for cash. And what I would highly recommend is when you're able to get the locksmith perk, definitely get that perk. I mean, there's a lot of very important perks in Far Cry 5 that you should get as soon as possible, like the leadership perk, which allows you to have like 2 characters to go with you on your quest to take down the Eden's Gate cult. But locksmith perk is going to help you unlock safes without having to try to find the key, as well as unlock most doors, unless the door happens to have a keypad. Because behind locked doors, there's usually cash. And behind locked safes, also cash and potentially silver bars as well. So as you can tell, all you really got to do to make money in Far Cry 5 in order to get that car or that boat, that plane, that helicopter, that weapon, that clothing item that you want is to simply play the game. You know, the main story, the side quests, go hunting, fishing, explore buildings, killing, looting cultists can easily earn you more than enough cash to buy whatever you want. And a lot of things that are really awesome in the game, you don't even have to buy. You just have to go out there and do this or do that or go search this area or go to this prepper stash to unlock this sweet militia outfit or figure out how to get inside this building in order to unlock this badass plane. Now, on the flip side, a lot of people are probably going to present this counterpoint. Well, GeauxBurns, they do have a season pass, which is going to contain paid DLCs. Isn't that a good alternative way for Ubisoft to make money off of Far Cry 5? The answer is yes. However, the reality is, unfortunately, microtransactions in games like Far Cry, Shadow War, Star Wars Battlefront series, Grand Theft Auto Online, and most likely Red Dead Redemption Online, whenever that comes out, hopefully in October, is going to have a form of microtransactions. Now, this can go one of two ways. Either A, the publishers and developers are looking at the backlash from the gaming community and realizing there's some things when it comes to microtransactions, loot crates, i.e. gambling, that a lot of us are no longer going to stand for and allow them to get away with, and they're going to back down from going that route and go towards something more like this, a happy medium, where there is an option for alternative currency in the game, which you can purchase, that you don't really need as long as you actually play the game and take the time to do the side quests and go exploring and looting and pillaging in order to make enough money to buy the items without ever spending a dime for microtransactions. Or it'll continue to get worse. And I'm of the opinion that hopefully we've seen as bad as it's going to get with the actions of EA through what happened with all the fallout regarding Star Wars Battlefront 2. I mean, that was a big deal, and that had a negative impact on EA, as well as Disney, as well as what happened regarding the backlash for Shadow of War. And that's a big reason why Monolith, under WB, has also had to walk that back when it comes to microtransactions. Hopefully going forward into the fall of 2018 and beyond, microtransactions in video games, Red Dead Redemption 2, will be a lot more reasonable. Right, Rockstar?